What's up, podcasters? Today we have a special guest on the show. His name is John Kellum. And then we have the lovely Colby Grant, of course.
Always here.
And myself, Bekah.
Yes, so this is a podcast for entrepreneurs, small businesses, and small business owners. So today, as we said, we have Mr. Kellum. I call him Kellum. On here today.
Worse.
Huh?
Been called worse. So.
I've been called worse as well.
Maybe we all have.
We probably.
Yeah.
So, obviously we are 6 feet apart maybe, but I lift my arms.
I
I'm
want
not
to
touching
say
them.
this is like a good 3 feet.
Hey, I lifted up my arms if you're watching this on YouTube.
But none of us have fevers, so
Yeah.
we're good.
Or feel like sometimes.
I gotta keep remembering to look because you are recording. So.
No, you don't really have to look. What?
Nothing.
Hey.
Yeah.
So, check us out on
never
YouTube at not Awkwardly Surprising, that's my other one. Jacksonville Entrepreneurs.
You see, that's why you have so many things going on now. You don't even know what you're doing anymore.
I do know what I'm doing. It's just, get lost in the...
Lost in the sauce.
Yes, very. So, we're here with Kellum. So, everybody's still going through that quarantine, kind of stay away, stay at home. Don't talk to people, don't touch people. But you have your own lawn business.
Right.
So how does that, I'll ask you that later. But first, how's that affecting you right now?
Surprisingly, it's not affecting me at all. People still staying at home. People are still asking me to come out and cut grass, asking me for some projects, some advice on some things that they should probably do. And I think right now is a perfect time for people to get out and actually do things on their own. Of course, I'm a huge advocate of people doing their own stuff. But if you need someone that has been doing it for a while,
with experience.
more than welcome to hit me up. Like you, cutting your own grass. I'm glad that you were able to get out and cut your own grass.
Colby had quite the experience cutting his own grass this weekend.
Since
yesterday?
It was
yesterday?
Yesterday. Yeah, it was 2 days ago because it was the 26th. Because yesterday was my birthday.
I called him because he told me to call him, and this man was panting.
I was almost dying. So if you listen to our episode with Chad Gorney, is that his name? I said I don't mow my lawn like my wife does it. Well, she's just supposed to backyard it. But 2 days ago, I was like, I'm gonna mow my front yard. My front yard's pretty big. It doesn't seem big, but it's really big. So I, put together. Yes, to someone that doesn't really mow their own grass. So, I was like, we should start saving money because people can't work. I don't know how long my job's gonna last. I'm a teacher. Obviously we start school soon, but I don't know if I'm going to get paid, so I was like, I'll cut it, save the time for Kevin to come all the way out here because we live so far away. Maybe 15 minutes in, I'm like, I feel like I've ran like 2 miles. My calves were hurting. I was just dying. And I was like, this is why I pay people. Yeah. And people have made comments like that, even about teaching or like having maids. Yeah. It's like now they're doing it to save money. They're like, this is why I pay them, and now they need more money.
It's so funny you say that because literally, like maybe 4 or 5 parents on my Facebook feed have said, I can't do this. I can't teach my kids at home. Like this isn't.
It's not as easy as.
It's not as easy as.
And then
seems.
One dude posted a video about and you could probably talk about this maybe. It's like teachers call you every single time about like, oh, your kid goes to the bathroom so much. Oh, your kid asks so many questions. Oh, your kid has 45 minutes to do this but doesn't do it.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, my kid doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
We have 8 to 12, and I gave him one assignment, and he doesn't finish it, and he's like, oh, I don't have enough time.
Right.
And now he's like, now, when they go back to school, like, don't let them go to the bathroom. If they don't finish their work, give them 0.
Right.
So I know that's not about lawns, but yeah, as I said, I go on rant. But
rant number 1.
Rant number 1, which we'll probably
number 1,
which we'll probably end up getting back to. But as you said, it's not really the coronavirus isn't really affecting your business just because people are still calling you to do the lawns because one, you probably have older customers or people like me that they do their lawn once, they're like, absolutely not. I'm never doing that again. Which I might do it again, but I might not wait until it gets too high.
Right. I would say my target clientele right now is probably the older population. A lot of friends and a lot of people that I post on my Instagram, they see some of the work that I do and they're like, hey, my mom or dad needs this, or my grandparents do that, can you do this? And so very rare, I would say probably of the accounts that I have, maybe 4 or 5 of them are, I would say, younger-ish, that just really don't have the time to do it because they have kids, or they don't have the equipment.
Right.
And they want their yard to look nice, and they want somebody to come by and on a consistent basis to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what's been contributing to it. And also the weather has been perfect.
Yeah.
This has been the optimal time for growth, optimal time for lawns to keep going through. If this happened in maybe like December, January-ish, I would probably see like a cut from it. But for me, I've been cutting grass, consistently for an entire year, like this calendar year. And for me, the way that I judge of how busy I'm going to be is if I can make it through what I call my dry spell. It's like December, January, February. Most of the time is when we get our cooler months. The grass goes dormant and it just doesn't look as pretty. It doesn't look as good. But I was able to consistently kind of make it through the dormant season by doing pressure washing, laying mulch.
So you can do other things.
Right. So it's not just cutting grass, and it's just making yourself, as far as a business perspective goes, making yourself as more marketable and valuable, I guess. Yeah, that would be the best thing to do, because if you just silo yourself to just only cutting grass, then you're only going to be cutting grass. And if you take on like little smaller projects as far as laying on mulch, or saying, hey, I can do this, or grabbing a pressure washer and saying, hey, I can really this algae right here by your sidewalk on your front door. You want to keep that curb bill up, let's go ahead and get this taken care of. So, kind of upselling and making sure we're also seeing the value in the product and then the value in yourself as a business owner is, also what makes it, kind of get through those, because your bread and butter, my bread and butter is cutting grass. And if you live here in Florida or wherever you live down south, there's a million grass, people, but what separates yourself is
a million.
What separates yourself is being able to say, I can go ahead and clean out that flower bed, or I can go ahead and pressure wash. So rather be like a Swiss Army knife of grass cutting than just,
So you can offer more services, so that like in your months where you're not cutting as much grass, you still make a good income.
You still have another something.
You don't experience a dry spell, really.
Right. And so when I'm in my busy season, as far as like probably April through November, or it's probably April through October, where it's just strictly cutting grass, where I won't take on any other projects, that's the time when I'm coming into the slow season. I start planting that seed. No pun intended, because it's like a long, but planting that seed to them.
You should intend that pun. You should.
Planting the seed to them, or maybe we should do some other projects right now, or hey, you wanted this cut, or you wanted this tree to get trimmed. Let's go ahead and start working on this now. So when the slower months come, I'm still building that customer rapport, also providing that customer service to them, and they kind of see me consistently. And it makes it, it makes it easier on business.
Yeah. So, since you kind of gave us that, now a lot of people, or like we want to know, because we're small business owners in our own aspect. So, where did this come from? Where did you get the name? Why did you even start? Is it something that like you're like, I need extra money, or is it something like, as we've talked about,
like you didn't want to work for anybody, or
and
what was it?
Some people start because it's kind of like they've already been good at it, but they've already been to school for something else. It's kind of like now is the time to really push what you're good at.
Right. I still have a 9-to-5, so I still have a 9-to-5. So for me, it was my dad used to always make me get out and cut grass. Like I was always out there with him. I was always cutting grass. I was always doing this, and I would say it's 2020 now, so maybe 4 years ago, I got laid off from my job, and my wife was pregnant, or my girlfriend at the time was still my girlfriend now, but she was pregnant, and we were about to have our kid within like we have Penelope maybe 3 weeks. So I had lost my job. I was like, well, I'm not just gonna go stand in the unemployment line. I've got all this lawn equipment. The only thing that I can do is just go back to what I can do and make some quick cash and just put a post. I made an Instagram really quick. I put up a post. Anybody need their yard cut? You'd be surprised how many people were like, yeah, my yard looks like crap right now. Come by and cut it. Yeah. And it was just one of those things where I went by. I made like $100 in like maybe 3 hours, 4 hours. I was like, okay. Let's see how this goes next weekend. So next weekend that kind of started, and then so the weekend the customers prior to were just like, hey, are you still going to come by and cut? He's like, yeah. I mean, I'm not doing anything.
So
anyway.
you weren't really thinking about asking for like that. Oh, are you ready for the 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You're just doing it just because you needed money now.
That's it. That's
Okay.
all I was doing. I was
And then
literally.
they became your
Exactly.
customer, like your
Exactly.
customer account.
Exactly. That's
And-
exactly what it started from. So and when I first started with a walk behind 36-inch John Deere. So I was walking behind it. It was self-propelled, but it was like one of those big tractors that you kind of, with the hand grips. And I had a weed eater, a blower, an edger, and that's pretty much it. And I had a rinky-dink trailer that, like, I had to keep always putting air in the tire, the wood panels on it, but I was getting it done.
Right.
It was something that, I could
You have
use
to start
get-
somewhere.
Exactly, and that's
Yeah.
what my biggest thing is for people that ask me about how I started my lawn care, because right now, I've got a truck, I got a nice truck, a nice enclosed trailer, fully upgraded all of my stuff, but that, we're talking about 4 years ago.
Took you time.
It just doesn't, you can go out and get the business
Like
loan.
how long?
4 years ago.
Oh, you've been doing it that long?
Yeah, 4 years.
Dude, I didn't.
Yeah, 4 years.
I thought it was like, because when I saw you, I was like, oh, maybe he just started, somebody that I know that I went to school with. Or,
Yeah.
some friends that went. You
Right.
went to, right?
Yeah, when we
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I know him, help people out. So that's why I just thought you just started. I didn't
No.
know it was like a 4-year process.
Four year process, man. Where I just really just went into it, and at the end of the day, that's what I know how to do.
Yeah.
I know how to cut grass. I mean, it may sound simple, but
It's not.
It's,
From my personal experience, it's not
It's
simple.
not simple.
It's not simple at
Yeah.
all because I didn't weed eat. I have one, but it's in my dad's house.
Yeah.
But I don't do all. I just cut in my grass. So I don't look like I'm homeless or
Yeah.
no one looks. I mean,
You don't want your house look abandoned.
Yes.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and from there, that's all I know how to do. So I was able to, amass everything and get everything going, and slowly. And the best thing that I say is, since this is an entrepreneur podcast, is you just have to start.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my situation, I started out of a bad situation where I thought was going to be bad, where I was panicking and I can't, I mean, you're only going to get a check for 2 weeks. And granted, I was blessed to still do interviews during the week, and I found another job quickly. But in the meantime, to supplement, that one paycheck, and then living for, you're going to start your other job in 2 weeks, and you're not going to get another job from that 2 weeks for another 2 weeks. So that's
Yeah.
almost like 6 weeks. And, and the position that I was in, I had kids also. So I can't go 6 weeks without a paycheck, or I can't, just go stand in an unemployment line, and I can't ask.
But even that's another
Yeah,
6
right,
weeks.
right, and I'm not saying standing in unemployment like I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because people are going to probably be doing that now
Oh yeah.
with COVID-19. But for me, it was one of those things where I just had to get off my ass, and I'm sorry if I,
Oh, no, you're
and just go.
But
do
that's
something.
like the entrepreneur mindset
Yeah.
is basically, for lack of better words, get
Mhm.
off your ass.
Right.
You have to start.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is getting started.
Yeah.
And I saw this post, and I refer to Gary Vee a lot because he's on my Instagram, but I'm not like one of his cults or anything.
Sound
He is.
No, but like a lot of,
He
I
is.
feel like a lot of things he says is kind of like it's common sense that like people should already know, and it's
Mhm.
like if I say it, it's kind of like whatever, don't listen to him. But someone else says
Yeah.
it, it's like oh my
Well,
god.
he's got that publicity
Yes, I
now,
know.
so like people who are following him now are people who don't have these mindsets.
Yeah.
So they're intrigued by the information, and it probably like motivates them to be like, yeah, you know what?
And he's
Doing
really,
it.
no, he's really good at motivating. Like, I mean, he puts things that maybe we could say in better words.
Right.
That some people are like, oh, he used a big word.
Yeah.
He's great. I mean, he's a great
Right.
person. Whatever.
Yeah.
But he said that, as we said, like getting up and starting. Like he posted a picture saying, I think it was him, saying like, don't tell people what you're gonna do because
Nah.
they're probably gonna cut it down and be like, oh, why would you do that?
They'll
Don't
hate
do
on
that.
you.
Yeah.
They'll hate on you so quick.
And coming from someone that has like 3 things that he's doing,
Right.
it's kind of like I throw things out there, like I don't really say what it is. Like
Mhm.
I'll tell Kylie and just see what she thinks.
Yeah.
And she's like, as long as you balance it correctly and you're not interfering with like our life or whatever,
Yeah.
hey, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I don't really tell people what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If it has to do with this podcast, obviously I'll tell her.
Right.
But like Auckland Surprising or Grant Tutoring, or now that I have Grant Visuals, it was just something that I wanted to do. But like, I feel like if I told someone,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, you sure you want to do that? You
Yeah.
know?
It's always like a lecture.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of like you're doing all this stuff. You should just focus on building this up. And
people don't ever have like the like people who aren't entrepreneurs. I don't want to say like us and them, but it's kind of like that, because if you don't have this mindset and you don't see the vision, it's hard for someone on the outside to support it. Like if I were to go to my parents and be like, hey, I'm gonna quit my job right now and then 100% market my photography and make that my full-time gig.
Right.
I don't know if I would get the support or what I want to hear from them. You know what I mean? Because they're very practical.
Yeah, I mean, and that, like, we're not saying like drop everything and focus on what you're doing, but like with us three, we all have something that we can do, but we can balance it with our regular 9-to-5 job.
Exactly.
And I feel like anything that you can do, you should be able to balance with your 9-to-5, unless obviously the income's better than that.
Right.
Then, you know, go from there.
Well, I was just adding on to like not telling people like your business.
So
like DJ Khaled, you gotta stay away from they. You know, they don't want you, and it's as crazy as it sounds, you know, people. And in my experience, people want you to do good, but not better than them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's as crappy as that sounds, and for what you're saying about if you have an idea about something, it's just better to go do it, because there will be some people, even within your circle, that will say, man, you don't want to start a lawn care business. You've got like 30, there's like 40 other people that are already doing it.
There's
right
1,000.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
you
you
a million.
drive down the road,
You know?
there's like billions of them.
Right.
Which we'll get into my next thing.
And they'll tell
But you know how many people live in Jacksonville and surrounding?
No, I
like
know.
over 2 million.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, and that's the thing too. You gotta start, and then you gotta find, you gotta find, you know, an area where you can't bite off too much you can handle. Like for me, I've got friends that live all over Jacksonville, and you know they always ask, hey,
are you a one-man show, or do you have any employees?
So it's usually myself and my dad.
Yeah.
Whenever he's not busy or anything else like that, and then you know, here pretty soon, probably next year, I'll bring my son with me. He's probably gonna be 8, so.
Yeah.
But
He can trim some bushes.
He can bring his stuff.
he can definitely get out. But whenever, but you know, probably 8 or 9 is probably when I'll start him. But for now, it is just me as a single crew. But I've kind of I've kind of maintained my 20 by myself. You know, I can do it if I know that, you know, I have a friend or somebody that will want to come out and help. You know, I can. I have had, you know, helpers in the past, but with upgrading the equipment and everything else like that, it's like, oh,
right. You gotta do the profit and loss.
You know, right? Yeah. That's what it is, and so you know that you get better equipment, and it's easier on you, you know, to do some of the things. But you know, when you want that employee or want that extra person to come help you, it's just usually just easier to enlist family. But yeah, I don't have an actual person.
I bet you
like
a little high school kid.
Yeah, that's the target, man. So I've had the 2 consistent helpers that I've had the past summer were in 11th and 12th grade, and you know, obviously, you know, once the school year starts, they were athletes, so they did track and everything else like that, so they can't do it plus they have schoolwork. Yeah. So I completely stand by them going on doing that, but they're on now to college. One's in college right now, and the other one is getting ready for college and doing all the other stuff. So yeah, it's been something where I just look for someone that really wants to get out, just active, doesn't mind sweating because it's hot. Right. You know.
Very hot.
But yeah. But yeah, you got to bite off, you know, as much as you can, and kind of stay within your
be sure you can maintain
your area,
it.
right? Yeah.
So, how do you, as we've said multiple times, there's like a billion lawn companies, like a billion. Yeah. So how do you like make yourself different than everybody else? Do you just focus on the people that you know, or do you try to, like, how? Do you go above and beyond in any? Yeah.
For me, customer service. I think my customer service is by far going to be above anybody else's, and that is because just the way that, you know, I speak to people and, you know, articulate. And when you go up and you pull up to a lawn client and, you know, haircut, clean, you know, I'm clean individual, you know, it's not looking like I'm walking up with, a lot of it is you know, it's all presentation. It really is. And I think for me too is the customer service, asking the customer exactly what they want, walking out to the yard with me. I'm not just going to pull up and just say, oh, hey, yeah, I'm here to cut the grass, blah, 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 blah. Right. And then, you know, for me, it's, you know, I kind of use the first couple of times of me, you know, going out and servicing the yard as you know, trying to be consultative, you know, cutting it maybe 2 or 3 times in 3 different lengths and saying, hey, which length do you like best?
Right.
You know, and I like it right here. It looks a little bit more green right here. Okay, so we're going to cut this on a level 3.
So it's pretty much like you customize.
Yeah, it really is. And so, and with the equipment, you know, that you have, and when you get better equipment, you can actually make it a little bit more customizable to the person. Some people like their lawn cut super duper low. Some people like it with like a little green, you know, on top and everything. So it's just all about knowing and curtailing and knowing that individual customer. And I think too, another thing is whenever I'm cutting grass, I'll take notes or mental notes of the person and their stuff.
I'm not one that doesn't take notes.
I'll take, you know, an individual note of what they like, and you know, from there it's just I think doing something and adding a little bit something that's going to take me 5 minutes, but go along the way, further away with them. So if they have like bushes or something, it'll take me 5 minutes to literally take a hedge trimmer and go boom, boom, just like this over it, and then shape it up really nice for them. And like, yo, I didn't actually leave the bushes. Like, it's all right. It looks like crap.
That's
now
great.
they're more uniform, and so that goes a long way. So when I do it again,
you're building a rapport with them.
So now I'm like, hey, can you cut the bushes? Well, now it's going to cost because now you've seen what I can
like
do.
that.
Right?
So
yeah, exactly. So that's what it is.
is.
That's when it comes into the upselling.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the majority of the time, you know, for my customers, it's you know, I make sure that, you know, I'm communicative. And then another thing too is showing up when you say you're going to show. I know it's
on
like
time,
super
punctual.
like it's common sense, but a lot of the times, you know, people will show up when they want. They'll show up at a different time they say they weren't going to, or they just won't show up at all.
Or in your case, it's like knowing your traffic.
Right.
Because if you know you have to go over like the Buckman Bridge, or you have to go on
knowing your traffic,
it's kind of like, okay.
Knowing your Jacksonville.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, if I know I'm going on Blanding or the Buckman, like what time is it? There might be an accident. It might take me a little bit more. So getting early
before you leave.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not bad to leave early or get there early as well.
Right.
I have to touch on punctual though.
Yeah.
I have had, I don't even want to say how many of my clients that I almost feel, I don't feel offended, but like when they're not there at our time, like I feel like a little bit disrespected, you know, because a lot of times, like when I have a client, I'll have someone right after them, right after them, and right after them, and it's like, if you're not here at your time, you're gonna miss your slot, and it's, I'll reschedule with you, but it's gonna be on my time now versus the time that you booked with me.
Right.
So, like, obviously with your photography, do you have like a certain amount of time that you're with that customer?
So let's say, for example, I was about to put out spring mini sessions before COVID-19, and usually I pick 2 days and I do 30-minute time slots. So in between those 30-minute time slots, I give myself 15 minutes.
Right.
So I would schedule like first client, this is just an example.
Sure.
First client 11:15, second client 12, 12:45, and so on and so on. And if they're for any reason running late, you're only going to get that amount of time that you booked me for, or you're going to come on to the end of the caboose.
Okay.
Now,
because that was my next question: is do you shorten up their time if they're late?
If they're late and they're still, let's say, 10-15 minutes and they're okay with that, then I'll absolutely still do it. And I understand, like, sometimes traffic and accidents, you know, and things like that happen. But if you're just late, you know what I mean? Like,
but if you still have a customer after that, you still have to let them know, like, hey, I'm setting you up for like 11:15, but letting you know I have someone at 12. So if you show up late, you only get the time that I have, or we have to reschedule.
Right.
With tutoring wise, with parents or per se tutors, because my tutors do meet them, or like if it's online or something like that. So if a parent is 10 minutes late without telling anybody, they have one, they lose the session, and
are they still billed?
Well, because since I send the invoice, so let's say that I send the invoice and they pay and they just don't show up, so then they lose out. They lose out on that session. So, you know.
Are you non-refundable?
Yes.
Same, me too.
So, but let's say that they're running late and the tutor has someone after them. The tutor will only tutor them for how many minutes they have left.
Right.
But let's say hypothetically, like the next parent's like, oh no, you can finish like then that's fine. Like I'm flexible with it. But my main thing is communication. Like if you don't tell us, then like you don't get that session back.
Right.
But let's say that let's say you pay for a session, and God bless.
Oh.
No, I'm thinking of the session. Like I'm thinking of how. So let's say that you don't pay for the session,
Right.
but you don't show up. Like I send the invoice, and I text you.
They bail
and,
on you.
Yeah, pretty much bail. So before they even start, I send this long text message which you've gotten that says that you don't get your next session unless you pay for the last session.
Right.
So let's say that you just don't show up, and then you text me like a day later, you're like, oh, my phone died, like whatever. I'm like, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but you still have to pay
you
before.
Stand with your business, you know.
It's opposite. See, and that's a good transition because it's opposite for me. So sometimes and the way that I roll, if I have a schedule, and if most of the time my clients, they know when I'm coming. They know I'm like clockwork. They know that I'm there. And if I'm not going to be there, I will say, hey, Colby, I'm 30 minutes late, 30 minutes out. Sorry about the inconvenience, but I'm coming. I'm letting them know that I'm still coming. And the same thing, I will tell someone maybe 2 days in advance, hey, I'm coming out to cut your yard, and then I'll get there, cut the grass, the back gate may be unlocked. So then I have to probably hop the fence, unlock the back gate, and then you've known that I'm there, and you don't leave the money, or you don't leave any correspondence, and you're not there, and it's like, but you knew that I was going to be there, and you agreed to this certain time, and now I can't sit here and wait on you to pay me. I have to go to the next lawn because that person is expecting me at this amount of time, and so in transitioning to that other lawn, I've got to text you and make sure that you know that I was there. And that's the thing that I hate the most, is like chasing money, and I have had to cut clients because not all money is good money.
So we'll get into that. So
100%.
You said that.
A good topic.
No, we're about to dive into it. But no, because you said most of your customers are older, right?
Yep.
So, and I've had the same kind of issue. Are they not comfortable with like Cash App or Venmo?
They are cash or check. They literally will not send me a PayPal. They will not send Venmo,
They're
Cash
very
App.
skeptical
They're
about
in their own
technology.
ways, and that's completely fine. But I would just rather them, I'd rather know that about them up front, and then to expect something that I'm not going to get. Most of my older clients, they pay monthly, like by the first. They are, or the first time cutting their yard, like, so if it's the 7th,
they'll pay for it for the month.
Yeah, they'll pay for it in the month in advance.
Yeah.
So when they're there, I don't even have to, and that's the best type of client in my opinion, because that's where the trust is built. It's like, I've paid you for the month, I expect you to come out and do this. And as far as my business integrity goes, if I know that this person has given me their hard-earned money for the entire month, if I'm not there on a Saturday, I'm going to be there on a Thursday, or I'm going to make sure you get all of the service. I figure it out.
You also know about like
you
the
probably
weather.
put them priority too.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You also, I will say, you also figure out like what the weather's going to be, because I think at one point it was going to rain during the weekend.
Yeah.
And you came that Friday because you knew Saturday and Sunday was going to be a thunderstorm.
Right.
So I mean, you do prioritize stuff like everything. You think about weather.
You have to.
Try to minimize the excuses and try to minimize the things, because everyone, there's nothing worse than paying for something or expecting something to get done, and it's just like, oh, well, I can't get it because of this, or I can't get it because of that.
Yeah.
And if you want to continue your business growth, and I think that's another thing too that kind of that goes along with that customer service, knowing that if you know that here in Florida it rains at like 2 o'clock every afternoon in the summer, you got to get your ass out there by like 7:30, 8 o'clock, get that first yard on there and get it done by noon. That way the yard's cut, the rain's coming, because you can't go and cut it the next day, maybe the day after, depending on how hard it's raining. But taking and going above and beyond to make sure you're still providing that service, it is good. But I mean, as far as business integrity, you've got to earn your clients' trust, because people are always thinking somebody's out there to get them. And and in my experience with some of the older clients that I've maintained, I've had to talk to grandson or granddaughter and explain to them that, hey, this is what I do, this is what's included, because a lot of people
they set it up for them.
Right. A lot of people think that you're cutting the grass, but can you also pull these weeds and everything else like that? And it's like, well, my time is my money. So if you want that done, I can do it, but it's not going to be included. There are certain things that I will include that aren't no burden on me, just because I know that I can do it, or I know that I can. It'll go a long way. Like trimming the hedges, I can do that. But as far as, any just super duper extra stuff, hey, can you trim this branch on this tree for me? It's like, come on, dude. I gotta trim it, and then I gotta cut it in little small pieces, and then I gotta take it, or so people really,
maybe
along
if
with
they
the time,
would give you a heads up about that prior, and then you
communication is key.
Expand your time that you're going to be there, and also bill them correctly in addition. And it is communication.
Yeah, I think communication is the biggest part that people struggle with any type of business, and along with that, with having to let some clients go, it's like you're not going to go to your hair salon or your barber and just say, hey, or depending on your barber, but just say, hey, you cut me this time, I'll pay you on Wednesday. It's like,
this is not the barbershop where the guy gets his hair cut and runs off.
Right.
And then he pays him back later. But I mean, that's a whole different situation.
But I mean, and you have to make sure that people understand, and I think if you carry yourself in a professional demeanor and you articulate and, can consider the way that you're presenting yourself, I think you'll get that in return.
Right.
But you have to set that up from the first cut, the first time. You gotta kind of put it out there. Yeah, you gotta put it out there. Look, hey man, I this is what I do. This is what I take pride in. This is what I enjoy doing. I would like to continue to enjoy doing it to you, but I gotta get paid on time.
Yes,
that's
time is money. Money is time.
Right.
So when you said about cutting customers, because have you ever felt like you didn't want, as much as you probably not dislike the customer, just they weren't on the same page about paying on time or being at home or responding to your text? Sure. Did you ever feel like I need to cut them, but I kind of don't need to cut them because I still need the money?
Right. So to me, and as crazy as it sounds, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but the money is the last thing that I'm really worried about. I'm more worried about my relationship.
At this point, but isn't that great?
Yeah.
After 4 years,
it got to this point to where I can get kind of choosy on who I want to serve.
That's so awesome, though.
You know what I mean?
That's really good.
And to me, it's I would much rather take on an easygoing client, someone that's going to say, hey, you know what? I have faith in you and your abilities. I know you're not going to screw it over. Just cut it, edge, weedy, do what you got to do to make sure the yard looks nice. Versus having someone that is, looking out their window, constantly on my back. I understand people want get what they want and everything else like that. You want to get your money's worth. Yeah. And I totally, agree with that. But at a certain point, if we're not meeting eye to eye on, the money aspect, or hey, this is where I told you I was going to be, this is how much it is, or if it's one of those things where it's well, can you do this or can you do that, and it's just one of those times where you got to really just understand that the relationship is probably best to go ahead and sever that, because then the money is just only going to make it worse. The client and the money and the aspect, and depending on that money, is only going to make it worse, because then you're in your position right now where you are doing something that you don't want to do for someone that you don't want to deal with, and it makes the whole, if you're into an entrepreneurial setting, if you're into it because you like it, then you're not going to like it. You're going to wake up the next day or wake up the next Saturday, go into the house, damn it, I got to go cut this grass.
And then it becomes something, it takes away your happiness about it.
Right.
Your drive to do it.
Yeah, because you don't want to do it because of the person or the relationship that you have. So I think at that point, it's best to build the business off of the relationship, and then the money will come. The money will come, but building your business and building your brand is strictly relationship is driven. And a lot of the times people ask me, why haven't I put up, or why don't I have any or not commercials, but sponsored ads on Instagram or anything else like that, because at this point right now, I think word of mouth is the best thing. And word of mouth really kind of works in two different ways. One, it upholds my end, making sure that I'm upholding that business integrity, and two, still being able to maintain good old-fashioned rapport with someone, saying they heard about me from X, Y, and Z, or you cut this person's grass, or so you do this, can you come by and do this? So I'd much rather put the relationship first, but it has been tough where I've had to cut some friends' parents. I'm just look, man, your mom isn't paying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know. And I just rather be blunt instead of just sugarcoating it. It's hey, man, every time I have to go to your mom's house, a raccoon or something has gotten in the trash.
Well, the thing is, when you provide a service, you should, in your field, you should be paid before it starts.
Right. And that's how my company is,
because you can't put up the labor and do everything that you have to do, and then the customer doesn't follow through.
Right.
You know,
I expect to be paid honestly. I expect, and Colby's really good at it. I send pictures, and I send the picture. I tell you I'm done. 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Cash
Okay.
out, however you
That's
decide
fair.
to do it. I completely understand.
Yeah, and
People want to
sometimes
see what they get.
oh yeah, I was gonna say some people are like at the store, like Walmart,
That's
something
true.
like that. And
Yes.
you might not have service.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you might not get
Sure.
it until later. Like I think you texted me once, and I was at Flag.
Yeah.
So I didn't get it until after my game.
Yeah, and I'm not even worried about it because then I understand.
Yeah, but I mean, you get to that point to where some customers are so good
Mhm.
that you remind them, but you're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Like they're not
Yeah.
paying,
Yeah.
and they're just busy.
I guess it's like per customer.
Yeah,
you
just-
'cause everyone's
it's all
different.
Yeah, you have to know your
Mhm.
customer, and like
Yeah.
with mine,
Know your
um,
customer.
going
That's a good
to
one.
like cutting ties with tutoring parents. Like mine was when I started really building
Right.
to where I had actually tutors coming in and tutoring for me. So then finding a price point. So because you always have those people that are grandfathered in.
Right.
But then,
Same.
but after a while, it's kind of like, okay, I'm not doing it anymore.
Mhm.
Susan's doing it.
Yeah.
Susan is expecting a certain amount of money, so
Right.
like I have to charge you more.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, I don't want to pay that.
Right.
It's
Right.
like,
Right.
well, I'm too busy to do it. Susan's not going to do it because she's expecting a certain amount of money.
Right.
So you can either A, pay the new price,
Mhm.
or find someone that's cheaper that will do it for you.
Yeah.
And I've had to do that a couple of times. And I mean, for the long run of things, it's good for me
Sure.
because now I can just focus on just grant tutoring or some other things that I'm doing
Mhm.
instead of worrying about, okay, she's going to complain because I'm not doing it, someone else is not doing it,
Right.
and I have to charge her more.
Mhm.
So I think with grant tutoring, it's kind of like you got to take those L's
Mhm.
because I know a W is coming. That's my philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Take a small L because a big W is coming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've cut off, I think, 3 parents, and I don't want to say cut off like they were
was
terrible
a mutual
people.
thing.
It was just kind of like a mutual
It just
thing
wasn't
that
working.
when I first started, it was just me.
Yeah.
Then it became me and maybe my mom and like 2 other people.
Mhm.
But then it just became more than just me.
Right.
So then I'm 1, managing people, 2, making sure parents are paying,
Mhm.
3, making sure tutors are showing up on time,
Sure.
4, still figuring out like my expectations for this whole tutoring company.
Yeah.
So I slowly backed off and I was like, hey, I can get you someone,
Right.
but prices are going to change.
Right.
And it was just one of those, okay, some people understand, some people you could say are still hurt about it,
Right.
but it's one of those things that, I mean,
It's
it's business, I guess you
baby.
could
Yeah.
say.
That's it. I mean, I've got I would say I only have probably 3 customers that I've been cutting for 4 years, and they're still paying the old
Yeah.
$30.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even
There's
like,
a few people that
There's a
you
few,
allow.
and then but the
I
criteria
think
for
we
that.
talked about this a
is
couple weekends ago.
I mean, I've been consistently cutting their grass for 4 years. I've been consistently at their house, unless they've told me not to, or unless they have something going on.
so it's just like a,
It's always
Just
there,
clock,
and
yeah.
it's just like clockwork. They pay every month. They know my kids. They know my family and everything else.
and I
like
think my situation would have been different if I would have kept tutoring.
that. Right.
But since mine has grown to something different,
Sure.
then I can't. Yes, can I ask? Because my tutors are contractors.
Mhm.
I can say, hey, this is how much I'm going to pay you.
Right.
But they're like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like I can't tell them, no, you're taking this because you're not technically an employee.
Sure.
So like if I was in your situation
Mhm.
and I was still tutoring, then yeah, they'd still be grandfathered in.
Right.
But now it's kind of like, because some people have been with me since I pretty much started.
Sure.
And I have a tutor that I think his kids started out in kindergarten, and now they're in like 3rd grade. So
Right.
some people have stuck with it, and that's obviously what tutoring's about.
Right.
But it's just they're grandfathered in. The tutor's okay with it, but obviously once they get to junior high, we'll have that conversation.
Right.
And so we'll see where that goes. And that's I think the hard conversations with my businesses is once they get from elementary to junior high or junior high to high school,
Mhm.
because that's when the price changes.
Right.
Which,
But you got to understand that though.
and I let them know ahead of time.
Yeah, they've got to understand because it's not the same. It's
Yeah,
different work.
it's different work, it's
Yeah.
harder work, and it takes the tutor has to do more you could say homework or
Right.
more preparation for that session.
Sure.
And even if I know they're going into junior high, I let them know like by summer.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't happen until that first day of school.
Right.
So if they're from 6th grade going to 7th, that price doesn't change until that first day of school that they're in school.
Right.
It doesn't like, oh, 6th grade's over.
Yeah.
New price.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Once you hit that junior high school,
Yeah.
then new price.
Right.
But I always give them at least 3 months ahead of time.
Right.
Let them know, hey, let you know, like your son or daughter is moving up.
Right. But then again, though, that's the cost of convenience.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there is a reason for your service, and you've kind of carved out, something for yourself to where it's like you are going to be, this the product is tutoring. You want the results, or is Johnny is going to get better at this math and everything, and the results are, the proof's kind of like in the pudding as far as like the price goes. So it's supported. I would understand that if someone was like, oh well, he's going to 8th grade right now, or still from 6th to 7th grade, but your tutor is still teaching them 5th grade stuff, like
But-
it's not there.
Yeah, so in that case, that is a good point because it's like, oh, my kid's going to 7th, but he's at like a 5th grade level.
Right.
Technically, he still is going to be learning 7th grade stuff.
Right.
So what we're doing is building that foundation of that 5th grade work to work with whatever they're doing in 7th grade.
Right.
He's still got to know 7th grade work.
Yeah.
He might not know his multiplication facts,
Right.
but we'll focus on that as well. But you still have to go to class and know, okay, what is pi, what is the Pythagorean theorem, stuff
Right.
like that. You still have to know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might not be able to get it, but that's where we come in and help.
Right.
Um,
So it's
so
kind of like supplementing.
yeah,
Right.
so
I
just
got you.
building that. And like with the whole COVID-19, as you said, like it didn't really affect you.
Mhm.
It has affected her a lot.
Yeah, really effective.
with photography.
Yeah.
But it
Unless you're doing photo shoots at home.
No, not really. I don't like people coming to my house.
No, you're not going to their house?
No, well, I do if they want like an in-home shoot.
Right.
But like my weddings, a lot of event venues close their doors for 60 days, so brides had to
Yeah.
reschedule their wedding date that they
Crazy.
planned for another like
Yeah.
6, 7,
Yeah.
8 months.
Yeah.
Whatever dates they had available later in the year. And again, we don't know how long this is going to last, but luckily that's not my only form of income. I do
Sure.
have like I don't have a 9 to 5, but I have an 8 to 2.
Right. So it's all about mastering the side
Yeah.
hustle.
Yeah.
So with pricing, as I said, with mine changing with grade level, how did you figure out your price points? Like, how did you figure out, okay, if I'm just doing lawn, this is how much, but okay, if they have a big yard, how did you figure that out?
So my thing was, as soon as I pull up, time is money, and so I took a look at how long is it going to take me to cut this yard. Most of the times, it usually takes me about 35 to 40 minutes, $40. So my goal is to be there and get paid, and I know it sounds crazy, but $1 a minute. That's just that's just what I want to look at.
Yeah.
$1 a minute. So if I know that I'm going to be, or I have the potential to be here for like 40 minutes, it's best just to go ahead and say 40.
Yeah.
For it and everything, and that includes mowing, weed eating, edging, mow, weed, eat, edging, and kind of any other trimming that needs to be done or anything else.
So
like
about
that.
40, 45 minutes?
Yeah, it takes me about 40 minutes to do the yard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if customers want to just pay you ahead of time for the month, you just
Mhm.
bill them like $80?
If it's a bi-weekly, I'll do like 75.
Oh,
since I'm
okay.
paying up front,
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
okay, a little.
So a little
discount.
incentive. But see, the thing that I look at it is that I'm a customer. What's gonna and I try to look at myself in their shoes. What's gonna make me want to get my grass cut by this guy?
Right.
So
Yeah.
if I'm paying him up front, if I want weekly service, and I say, all right, so if your weekly service is 160, if it comes out to being 160, you know what? Can we meet in the middle at like 150, 140
Yeah,
up front?
you're
It's like,
flexible
all right,
that
cool.
way.
Yeah, I can do it this way.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think being that way and being able to do that, but then also seeing other lawn people and seeing other people out,
Yeah.
and I will act like a customer. I'm like, hey man, how much are you charging for the yard? And they are still within that same price point.
Oh,
Even a
okay.
little bit more expensive. So I've kind of did a little bit of market research
Know
to see
your
what
competitor.
what people are paying and what
Mhm.
and so I've had some times where I'll be out cutting a yard and probably like a neighbor's yard or something like that, and they're like, hey, how much is it gonna cost since you're already out here? It's like 40. I'm like, what? 40? Little Johnny down the street over here will do it for 25. Well, why are you talking to me?
Go
get
Johnny.
you're interrupting my productivity right now. Go get little Johnny and he can cut your stuff. But I think another thing too, along with pricing, goes with presentation. Like when someone pulls up to your house and you can kind of, and it stinks because it is judging a book by its cover. Yeah. But if someone comes up to your house and their machine, you're watching them and they're like cranking your shit like 17 times trying to get it started, and it's not, the equipment is part of it also, because you're paying for premium equipment, you're paying for someone to use commercial equipment, you're paying for someone that's using stuff that's going to give you a professional cut. I'm not walking around with like a push mower and just got a small electric weed or anything else like that. It's all like commercial, things.
That's what I got.
So I think it's having the confidence also.
Yeah.
To just say it, and having the confidence, but then also knowing the self-worth as a business owner. Like once you get out of that spot,
that beginner stage,
where you're just grinding and just trying to grab every yard that you can or anything else like that, if you're not completely exhausted by it, then it's just going to it and just saying, I know I'm worth, I know my time's worth.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. You're the 40-hour expert.
Right.
That's your customer. You have to stand by your product and stand by, why you think it's going to cost this, or why it should be this amount of money. I
can totally relate to that too, though, because after a year, I upgraded all my camera equipment and also the price of my service.
Right, it's better. It's just you have to offset that cost somehow by still trying to make money.
And your end product's going to be better because I invested in my company.
Exactly.
So
exactly,
you can pay it or go on to Sally Joe.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the same with me. Like I didn't upgrade anything on my part besides tutors.
Right.
Because as I said...
But you have a standard of the type of person that you want, right?
Yeah, but you got to think, like, I can only tutor up to a certain grade.
Right.
So if little Johnny gets to, like, 7th grade math, I've only taught up to 6th grade.
Right.
Granted, could I do it since I'm already doing 6th grade and just follows through with it?
Yeah.
But why not get someone that is just good at it and breaks it down easier?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So that's why I needed to figure out, okay, how can I keep this going without me doing it?
You hired above your grade level.
Yes, pretty much hired. I have teachers, but now I have a lot of good college students. Like I've said this multiple times. A lot of my tutors are from FSU. A lot of them are like going to school for science, so they know a lot of math or reading, and they're just really good. So my price obviously changed because now you're paying for a good tutor that obviously you have to be consistent with. Same with you. You're paying for a lawn service that is going to be consistent with.
Right.
You're not going to see a change if you do twice a week. I mean, not twice a week, just one time a month. Unless your child is, smart per se, or just needs that kind of reinforcement. So you're paying for the tutor, and you're paying for a good quality tutor that's gonna help your child get to where they need. Like I have tutors texting me, hey, I'm trying to help Johnny, and I've texted the parents, I've texted him, they're still not doing anything. I'm like, hey, you can only do so much.
Right.
If they don't want to put in effort, like you're still there giving your full potential. If they don't want to do the extra work, I mean, hey, as long as you communicate with the parents and they know that you're communicating, they can't say anything to me about it.
Yeah, that's along the lines of just common sense and stuff like that. Just control what you can control. I mean, you can control, how well you're going to do your job. You can control, if you're going to be there on time. You can control those things as a business owner. So if you control what you can control, everything else will kind of fall into place. And I think also along the times too with money and paying for the product, you're going to get someone that, and what you're paying for is someone that's going to be consistent, someone that's going to be professional, someone that's going to let you know that if this needs to be fixed or this needs to be done. And I think a lot of the times with a lot of the commercialized lawn places, you're just an account to them. They show up, get everything done, leave, don't even say hello, don't even knock on the door, no text or anything else like that. Some people do like that. Some people enjoy that, you know what I mean? But I mean, as far as with my busiest time when I was with you, or cutting with you, there'd be times I just show up because I know that the grass probably needed to be cut, and then we're building that rapport. And then, so, hey, Colby, I'm here, just finished, and then I'm gone. So, but, I'm still not knocking on your door saying hello, but you know that I'm there, knowing that I'm on.
But you have to know your customer.
Right.
Obviously, I have multiple customers, so I have to know multiple, like I know a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So what I do instead of taking notes, which you guys love taking notes, is on my phone, I put their name in my phone as like this long name, mm-hmm. but then I have a spreadsheet, so I guess I technically have notes. Yeah. So I have a spreadsheet of the customer, the name, and their kid. And then I keep their text messages because obviously I'm talking to a bunch of parents, so I can go back and say, sure. Okay, you know, who's this parent? And most of them, as you said, it's about your presentation, mm-hmm. How you kind of talk to them, mm-hmm. And just being different. Right. So I've always said that if a parent calls me, and I've had a few times where like I've been really nervous. I don't know why. I get nervous. Yeah. But for the most part, if they talk to me, I tell them straight up, and I'm very professional. But I'm also personable as well. Right. Like, you know, I joke with them. Sure. But I'm also awkward, so that kind of makes it easier for me. Right. But I just tell them, hey, you know, the difference between, if they're like, hey, what's the difference between you and another tutoring company? Mm-hmm. You're sticking with one tutor. Right. Granted, if you feel like, hey, this is not working, you can say, hey, mm-hmm. you know, can we switch? Perfectly fine. But if you go to a different place, you're going to show up, and you might end up with Billy one day, Susan the next day, and Jimmy on Thursday. Sure. So it's like you're hitting 3 different people, so your kid's not really getting that rapport mm-hmm. to really give that confidence with that one person. Mm-hmm. With me, obviously, you stick with one person, build that confidence, and it just builds that rapport. And a lot of the tutors that I have, if you start off with elementary, they pretty much can stay with you through high school. Right. So it's just like that. It's like that movie with the teacher that, I can't think of it. But her kids wanted her to move up in high school, so she just moved up with them. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like with my tutors. I try to get them someone that they can move up together. Right. So it's just like, okay, they're going to stick with me. They're going to stick with me. Right. Type thing. So I think that's, as I said, I don't know how I got there. But I mean, that's kind of how I feel when I talk to my parents. Right. Yeah. Another thing I want to ask you is, you said that you bring your son with you. Yeah. Now, are you trying to make this kind of like a family business type thing, to where like it kind of falls, like, because you have your dad, you have you, and then you plan to bring your son. So is this just going to be kind of like you're hoping like a generational thing, or just kind of like, just to, you know, introduce him to hard work?
I think for me, I want him to introduce him to, you know, grinding. Yeah. Like, nothing's going to be given to you. Yeah. I'm not, you know, a trust fund baby at all, and he will not be one unless I hit the lotto these next couple of weeks or something. But just instilling, you know, that work effort, that work ethic and grinding, because regardless of what he decides to do, if he wants to cut grass, great. But then, you know, he could want to do something that is completely unrelated, but the work ethic is there. The 100%. Grind is there. You know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of people are missing, and a lot of people that I think that one deciding factor, that grind factor, is what keeps a lot of people on their ass when they have this idea and they don't get up and do anything about it, because they just don't have the grind factor. They just want to say, oh, well, I've got to worry about this, or I don't have to worry about that. If you just get up and do it, you know, and that comes from within. You know, if you have to have that grind factor in what you want to do, you have to start somewhere. It's not going to be pretty.
It's never pretty.
It's never pretty in the beginning. I mean, honestly, like,
unless you're a trust fund baby.
Yeah, and no offense to the trust fund babies out there, but you know, you got to have that grind, and you know, and just, if you can constantly see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know, that's what it's going to be. I could show you guys pictures of like literally me starting. The first day that I went out and, you know, cut my first lawn, I had on a cut off, like, a Ridgeview t-shirt, like some shorts, and a pair of busted Nikes. And as I continued to grow within my business, I got t-shirts to look a little bit more professional. Right. You know what I mean? Then I started wearing, you know, like Dickies and things like that to look more professional while I'm actually cutting the grass.
It's kind of like I talked about a few episodes back, like, or maybe it was our first episode. Yeah. My first picture that I posted on my Instagram is since been removed. But like, for my photography company, what I can do now and what I used to do, I'm just like, I don't need people to see that anymore.
Right.
But here I am now, guys. So this is.
But I mean, even with my tutoring company, like I still have my first business card that I made.
Yeah.
The one with you on it, and it's like
no, that's not. That's
like
my
Saved by the Bell in the background.
That's hilarious.
That's my. I think
I've seen that.
No, that's the one I still use. On the front, it's like going tutoring has my old stuff, but on the back, it has a picture of me.
You know what? His logo and stuff does remind me of Saved by the Bell.
It does.
I love that show.
Yeah.
I've never.
What?
Don't even say it. Don't even say it.
Oh, man.
I'm a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan.
I'm also a Fresh
that
Prince fan.
too. But I mean,
never a big fan.
Whatever.
Another discussion.
Yeah.
But no, like I still have, and I've thought about like changing it, but
it's already your brand.
No, well, yeah, but I feel like as someone that's the owner or something, I should be on there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I like a cartoon,
right?
But it brings that kind of like,
I know what's the word?
It brings that like character to me,
Yeah.
or it makes me different than everybody else.
Yeah.
Yes, like word of mouth.
Look human.
Yeah, like word of mouth has been really well with me as well.
Yeah.
My Facebook, obviously I have a website, my Instagram.
Yeah.
But no, like I have like my first business card, I have my first like Facebook banner that I keep it because it's one of those things that I started with this, now I'm like this.
Yeah.
Could I make a more professional one? Yeah, but then I feel like I'm turning into that big company. I mean, obviously the goal is obviously to be a big company, but I don't want people to look at him like, oh, they're probably just like, whatever.
Right.
But
I wish I would have made that decision with mine because my business cards are like white with my logo and it does say for all your lawn care needs, but people think it's a barbershop for Kellum's Cuts, and I'm just like, damn.
And you have your logo on it?
Yeah, with like, and people think it's a barbershop still.
Yeah.
Like I had this one funny story. So I was cutting this guy. One of my friends, he lives out in Oakleaf, and we were doing some. I did a full service, so I mowed it, and then also planted some trees and planted some stuff there. Built this flower bed up really nice, and his neighbor was just like, "Hey, I need your guys' card. I need your guys' card." So I brought him a card and everything. He wasn't at home. I put it in his mailbox and I put it on his door. And so my friend John was like, "Hey man, has he hit you up?" And I was like, "Nah, he hasn't." And so he walked over and his wife threw the business card away because she thought it was a barbershop and he's bald. He's like, "So why do you need a barbershop?" So I had to give him another one and have this consultation set up. But yeah, I think having that kind of that I wish I would have kind of taken more advantage of the business card and more thought behind the business card than just going on Vistaprint.
I'm there.
I mean, I know. I used Vistaprint, but I had my friend make the guy that made this poster. If you're watching this, he made this poster. He's the one that made that.
Right.
And at the time, I was still like, I think maybe year two.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, this is the best picture I have of me right now.
Uh-huh.
Can you make this look like cute with math stuff, whatever?
Yeah.
Reading.
Saved by the Bell. Looking at
it. So he made it. I was like, I like it. Done. And then we made up the new logo with the books.
Mm-hmm.
So he made that as well.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want it, because at the time I was really doing math. And I was
Right.
like, well, I don't want to stick to math because I can do reading.
Sure.
And that's when we just did the books and did that. So obviously, eventually I will upgrade my logo.
Mm-hmm.
Not my logo, but just my business cards. But as of right now, I think right now it brings character to my business.
Yeah.
And it just shows that I'm different. And like when people go to my Instagram or my Facebook, they see people and like, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
They go,
It is.
you know what, whatever.
Right, isn't it?
Now that
I spelled the logo for those of you watching.
Now that I see that, I see it now. But no, it brings kind of a character to grant tutoring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I want to be different, because, I mean, I could go a whole range about how I'm different from everybody else, but I will make a different story. But I guess a question for you, because you actually have your daughter tutor with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, from your personal experience, like, I don't think you've done it that long or that much, but how, like, your personal experience, granted, like, I'm here, so you're probably not going to be like, oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
But if it does suck, I would hope you would say, hey, it sucks.
Yeah.
But just your personal opinion, like, how did you feel? How do you feel about, your tutor?
Yeah.
And, that one-on-one with the same tutor instead of getting someone different?
So I'll look at it two different ways. I'll look at it from the, interacting with you as the business And then also with the tutor, I don't want to say her name, but with the tutor, and the differences that I've seen with Cameron. Number one, I think it's awesome that, the communication aspect of, text, even though that's the way that I would rather communicate, but just having that out there up front, knowing when the schedule is going to be, and then the morning of sending the Cash App notifications, like, okay, the Cash App notification is there, I know it now, I need to make sure that I get Cam to the library by 4 o'clock because that's where the tutor is going to be and everything. So from the business side of it, I think that's been great. I think also with, the coronavirus thing going on, how proactive you were and not reactive to the messaging, kind of proactive
that's
to like,
really
hey, we need to get in front of this. If you still want to do the tutoring, great, we can still do it. The only reason why I didn't do it is because of spring break. And I was
that's fine.
That. But, and we'll kick back up when school starts, so Tuesday, I'll expect another Cash App notification.
Well, we got to talk about that.
Okay,
well,
we'll talk about that.
Because I think this is a good transition with that we'll discuss because it's something that we need to talk about as well. But no, just...
And going over, so with having that same one-on-one consistent tutor, I think it's great because you can kind of benchmark the child's success.
Yeah.
So as everyone has, and consistency is something that I love. So every time we've been there, she's been there on time, Cameron's had a great time, and then from a couple of times we have seen it, there has been improvement, there has been things that she has given me also to kind of work on, and when I'm working with her on, because the tutoring just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Or the learning doesn't stop on Tuesdays. You still got to go through the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So whenever we're doing homework, kind of little things, because I'm not a teacher at all. If I see the word, I don't know, silent H, and I just know what the word is. You know what I mean? So giving me things to not really kind of get frustrated with when I'm trying to help her learn her sight words and everything.
Yeah.
So, but I think the one-on-one tutoring has been really good because of you can kind of track that progress. And then over the summer, it'll continue to track the progress and continue to go from there. And then eventually we'll add on a couple things that would kind of strengthen her to go into second grade, and the same thing with my son, I'm going to add him to, but to strengthen him from going from second to third grade also. So, I like it. It's been good. That's what I would want. Because you think about a tutor, and another thing too, you think about like, oh, I'm going to a tutor, and it's like Mrs. Doubtfire. And it's not that at all. It's someone that you can kind of relate to, someone that you can have a conversation with, and also it's in an area where it fosters learning, and you're in a library. You know what I mean? So it makes it awesome.
Well, as I said, or Panera, or
I hate Panera.
Well,
I'm not a Panera guy at all.
Like you don't eat it?
No.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
Like it looks like jail food.
Bro, I hate it. My wife loves it too. I
think Kylie loves it too, to an extent. But no, but if you go in Panera, it's a good place because that's where a lot of the older kids get tutored at. So I have to explain to the parents, like at the library, like you guys go to the one on your side of town. Like the one over here, after school, like there's a lot of kids in there. It's loud and whatever. So I'm like, Panera, kids are getting they're studying. They're studying and they are doing their work. It's quiet. It's not as loud. Or Starbucks, you have people like
it's distracting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very small.
Yeah.
So that I always suggest Panera, and you said something about like when I was proactive pretty much. I kind of have like a crisis team, per se. Well, it's just like I have 2 secretaries that do some stuff for me, but like I still ask them, hey, this is what I have. Can you improve it because I'm not the best writer, and they edit my stuff before I post it. So obviously I've had online. So the thing is, the next question was because the libraries are closed.
Right.
And they're gonna be closed for a while.
Yeah.
So talking with the tutor is making sure, okay, hey, because she can do online, and that's the next step that I have.
For sure.
Which some parents are still skeptical, but now
they have no choice.
They have no choice now. It's not like your kid, and a lot of parents have transitioned to online. And so is that something that, obviously, do you want to try that?
Yeah, I think they gotta learn.
Yeah.
And I know that there are some things that are going on, and they're saying that everyone is going to kind of get passed through to the next grade because.
But they said that you can hold them back, but I feel like.
Yeah, you're not going to hold them
No, you're not. But then you're gonna have parents that say, okay, can I just hold them back so they can just learn this one type of skill?
Yeah.
But you can. I feel like it's gonna get very confusing.
Right.
Because you're gonna have some parents that feel like their kid's not gonna get everything they needed, but they don't deserve to be held back.
No.
Because then it looks like they failed in the long run. Then it's like, oh, their self-esteem's gone.
Yeah.
But how do you? I guess this is a good question since you are a parent. Like, what are you gonna do like next year when they're like, hey, your kid's moving on, but you can't hold them back if they want, but then they're really struggling because they've been doing online teaching,
right?
But it's just not the same.
I think the best thing and the action going forward is going to still continue to. I think the tutoring now is more valuable than ever.
Yes.
Because you're gonna have someone that is able to do it, that has the patience, that has the experience as well. So I think where you're at right now and the position that you kind of created yourself is more valuable than ever, because parents are going to be leaning on those. If they really care about their child's educational success, they're going to do the best that they can to, they'll say, yeah, of course I can teach them. Yeah, you may know how to do like 2 times 6, but how are you going to explain it and break it down to someone?
And that's the big thing that parents don't understand is explaining it,
right?
Instead of just teaching it.
Yeah, or just telling them, hey, you know what? No matter what, if you don't know that 2 times 6, it's 12 by the time we're done, and it's just not, they're memorizing it, they're not actually learning.
Yeah.
There's a difference between memorization and
actually
recalling that.
Yeah.
Instead of actually knowing that the reason why 6 times 2 is 12 is because.
And being able to show it.
Right, and to be able to show why. So I think the online tutoring, and I think your business right now is going to be more essential than ever, because people are going to need, going forward, they're going to need some type of resource to where they can, their child can learn, but still also track their child's growth and learning as they're advancing.
Yes.
Granted, just because you're going, and my kids are still in elementary, so granted, them going from 2nd to 3rd grade is one thing.
That's
huge step, because in 3rd grade, I've seen it.
3rd grade is
this is where word problems come in.
3rd grade is the stressful grade because it's the pass or fail. But then since I've taught 4th grade, going from 3rd to 4th is like jumping off a bridge.
Yeah.
Because you go from like 2 times 2 to 1,607 times 1,602.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So it's a big step, even with division, going to long division.
Right.
Going to geometry.
Yeah.
Fractions.
This is where you lose me.
Yeah.
This is where I am.
And
I benefit to my kids at all.
And I haven't taught 4th grade in like 2 years, but I can let parents know, like, I know where the central grades are. 3rd grade, because that's the stress. 3rd grade, you could say it's easy, but teachers put so much pressure on kids because, like, you need to do well on this test because it helps me.
Right.
It is so, like, test. Students get worried. Like, I have a kid that we're getting tutored. She's very smart, but she's just stressed out because of the test.
Right.
So it's kind of like building that confidence as well. But yeah, as I said, like, I think it was last episode, like, she said that my business probably will be doing well.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not like I just started, like, oh yeah, Zoom's free now. Like, Grand Tutoring does Zoom. No, I've been using Zoom since like year 2.
And I think that's what's going to be big too for you in this time, because this is the time for you to actually flourish as a business owner and flourish as Grant Tutoring. Because if you have been using Zoom as an essential part of your business, and now that people actually need it to go forward, it's going to be, it's already seamless. It's already going to be, you've already figured out the bugs. Yeah. You've already kind of told somebody how to direct them. And that's what's going to make yourself even more valuable. Because now it's like, well, online tutoring, but yeah, I've been doing online tutoring. This is what we use, this is how we use it, this is how you can use it. Let's go.
And that's why I've been posting like pictures of like tutors actually doing it online.
Yeah.
So like I have a picture of my mom tutoring, I think a 3rd grader online. I have another girl, I think I'll post that today. She's tutoring a high schooler online doing something.
Right.
She sent me the picture and I looked at that math. I was like, I have no idea what that is. And then I have another girl tutoring someone in reading. So it just shows the different aspects. Granted, I'm still trying to figure out how to really push that out.
Sure.
But as for the most part, people know about me.
Right.
And I train my tutors to really understand what Zoom is. And they're college kids, so they really pick it up fast. But no, like as I said, it wasn't something that I'm taking advantage of COVID-19 was online tutoring. No, Grant Tutoring has been doing online tutoring.
Not fear-mongering?
No, I've been doing Grant Tutoring online for at least this is year maybe 3.
Yeah.
And all the tutors I've had have been using it.
Right.
So no, that's kind of like I want to see just from your perspective.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be.
And I've asked parents to do surveys. I don't know if I sent you the survey. I've asked them to take surveys just for a long-term kind of thing.
Right.
For me, I plant seeds for things in the future. I'm not doing the survey for now. I mean, if I get 25, cool. I need maybe 100 at least for something to use it for something.
Yeah, that's how you get better. And it also provides you, and if you really do care about your business, you cannot, that's another thing too, you can't be, you have to be thick-skinned, because you have to look at it like if you're really in an end goal and you really want to be able to kind of provide and be the best person that you can, you have to be able to take criticism.
Oh,
you have to be able to understand that, someone wants certain things done a certain way, and they are expecting something, and you have to be able to kind of take that within stride to kind of get better. If you create that relationship with your client and create that relationship where they can give you feedback, that's going to really just take it further.
It's really healthy too.
Right. It's healthy. You just need to know where you missed the mark and where you are falling. As far as one of my weaknesses, I would say, is that I don't plan. I go. I figure it out as I'm going. You know what I mean? And I would much rather someone tell me that hey, when the next time you're here, can you do this a little bit better? Can you cut it right here? You missed a little spots around the tree. I can't go back and be like, oh, what? You don't know what you're talking about. You weren't even there. I just gotta take it like, oh yeah, hey, my bad.
Absolutely.
You understand
it's
that?
one of those that you take it and you, as I said, you can take it, or you listen to it, or you save it, and then you actually remember. It's like, oh yeah, he did say this. Let me just do it.
Yeah.
You just I'm a person. I always take advice. Do I use it all the time? No. But will I use it eventually? Possibly.
Yeah.
But I still listen.
Right.
I don't listen to just say, oh, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Unless I know I'm right. But I listen, and then I use it eventually.
Yeah.
For instance, I just got a text from a tutor about online. So I have to help troubleshoot with that. She just texted me, and she said, hey, this past week my Zoom has been acting really weird and has been giving me a time limit for how long I can tutor. So Zoom has taken off all their time limits because of the whole COVID-19.
Yeah.
So teachers can do classroom settings and stuff like that. I'm not sure if anybody has experienced that. So as I said, sometimes my business is sporadic, where it's everybody just knows what they do.
Sure.
And some days it's just busy. So
sure.
After this, I gotta call her and figure this out.
How do you deal with some people coming back? I mean, with pictures.
It's actually only happened to me one time.
Really?
Yeah, and I was so thrown off by it because I was about to go to bed and I just sent a gallery. It was in November, I think, but this family had rescheduled with me because we had a random, really cold and ugly day outside. It was rainy. You don't want to shoot in that weather.
Sure.
And then the day that they rescheduled, the weather was the exact same. So it was rainy. It was cold. It was during the time of daylight savings where the sun went down at 4:15.
Right.
And so we were losing daylight. They wanted to reschedule for 4, and I was like, fine. But when it's rainy and there's that much cloud cover and it's cold and it's misty rain,
sure.
It's hard to produce what they're looking for, because what they're looking for is what's on my Instagram. Right. Which is light, brightness, temperature, sure. Moody tones, and when I sent her gallery, it was completely reflective of the weather that day. Yeah. And it was so hard for me to do that because you paid me for your session. It was the second session that you rescheduled with me, so you didn't want to reschedule because of the weather. And I could only produce so much based on those terms, So she messaged me and she was like, it's just these pictures look very cold. And there's no exactly, and there was no the way she described it was nobody looked happy. But let me tell you a little bit about this session, and I'm gonna be fruitful because I don't know if she'll ever listen to this, and if she does, I'm about to tell you about yourself. But
be honest.
her husband was completely like straight face, like not into photo session at all. Like, and a lot of guys are, but it's okay. It's okay, like if you're that way. Usually they lighten up, you know, after they see like it's not that big of a deal. You're not modeling, bro. Just smile.
It's your family.
Exactly. This is family shoot. And so he the whole time was literally like this. He'd smile and then drop his face. Like bad mood. Straight bad mood. And that's hard for me to work with. Like if you don't want to be here, I'm not forcing you. But I'm still going to provide you a service because you're paying me. You know, and so there was that. And then there's also the weather. And so when I sent her these pictures, she just wasn't happy with the end product, but mostly it was because of the weather, her husband, and maybe she just didn't like the way that she looked. I don't know. But these things were not my fault. You know, I delivered the product. You didn't like it because of circumstances I couldn't control. But she emailed me, and it was like 11:30 on a Monday night after I sent her the gallery, and immediately I got out of my bed and tried to edit the best way to change the mood or something of it, and she liked what I resent her eventually, but it wasn't that much different, at all. Maybe I altered a couple of colors, but it was not that much different, and I have to say that was my only client that's ever said anything about a final gallery delivery. But that was hard for me to swallow. Like I'd never gotten that before.
Because you want, as you said, you got out of bed right then and did that.
So I can't sleep on that.
No, I couldn't.
No way.
But like, I mean, even thinking like, if I don't think I've ever had. I've had parents tell me that they do not like a tutor. Like, do you have another tutor that is better? Or actually, I have, because I had to let this lady go. So, I forgot about this one. It's been so long. So, and I kind of blame it on myself because, when you're hiring people, you just know it probably isn't the best person to hire. But you're like, I was at that time where I just wanted tutors. And, when you're starting, you're like, oh, I just want tutors. Like, she says she works in school, which, she showed me she did. But, like, in my heart, I was like, this is going to be a terrible decision. It's going to bite me. And it obviously did. Like, the parent showed up with work, and then they would do the work, but then the kid would miss every single problem the next day at school. So the teachers, the parents, like, they're helping them with the problem, but they're missing everything. And I'm like, yeah. And then one day, she didn't even show up. And then, actually, here it goes. This is where I knew I messed up. The very first session, I got her a session, and she texted me, and she said, hey, I can't make it. I just left the emergency room. Cool. Hey, whatever. I'll reschedule for tomorrow. Next day. Hey, I can't make it. Mind you, she hasn't even met this kid yet.
Oh, man.
And I've already built her up. So, that was the first thing. And I was like, cool. Then I can't get in contact with her. I can't, and then like she messes up everybody's work. So, obviously they're contractors, so they're not like employees, so I can't just like fire them. So, we just mutually split. So something happened, and I called her. I was like, I called Connor. I was like, I gotta live it. Like I'm, as you said, it's easier to let people go and just be happy. And I'm a nice person. Most people would think I'm not, but I try to be nice to people that I don't personally know, that doesn't know my personality. Because it's a representation of who I am. So I called her and I'm like, hey, this, and this. I think we should probably part ways. I mean, it went well. It went better than I expected, but just it showed that, like, for me, it showed me that I will let someone go if they aren't leading up to an exam or leading up to my expectations of what I expect for them. And as I grow and get more tutors, I let them know my expectations. And as I said, as we've all said, communication is key, especially with me, because especially with this COVID-19, everybody thinks they're going to school. But then, in a few weeks, they're not going to school. I think it hasn't set in for them yet. But I've said this multiple times. We're not going back to school this year. We're not. And I think just communicating, like, they want to come back to tutoring. Oh, well, we got to do online. Yeah, because everything's closed. But trust me, you're going to like it. You don't have to leave your house. You're at home. You can watch it if you want. You can record it if you want. Cool. Do whatever. But you're at home and it's easy. So figuring out, like, getting bad news and just trying to not just reacting to it like how I've been doing. It's kind of like thinking about like everything first, and then kind of making your move.
Yeah.
It's kind of like chess, even though I don't play chess.
Right.
But just understanding it, like, don't react so fast, which sometimes I can say I have.
Yeah.
But when it's a business, you have to like wait and really think about, okay, what if there is a long-term effect or short-term effect, like what is it, and is it better for me as a person and my business?
Right.
So yeah, I've gotten that as well, and it's kind of like my first thing is go to the tutor. Like, let me figure out what their side is first before I make any other decisions.
Right.
Because I'll know if they're lying.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, you know, you're gonna have parents. Like, even as a teacher, you have parents that just say stuff. So, but do you have any more questions?
No.
Do you have any more questions for us?
Oh no, man, it's been awesome. I think you guys do a really good job as far as a podcast product.
We didn't even talk about your podcast, but
What?
we can say that another. We can say that another
No,
time.
we'll say that. We can do like some type of matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool.
But,
'Cause I
yeah.
love the Jags. I'm crazy about them.
She's a Jags fan. I'm a Jags fan, but not as crazy as them.
Yeah, then you would be probably the best person to have as
She
a
got
guest.
mad at me because I got mad. I didn't know who was.
I don't remember.
You told me to make a shirt for someone, and I'm like, who is it?
Oh, DJ Shark.
She was like, you should make a shirt.
Did you not know who
I
that
told him
was?
to make a Shark shirt because that would sell, and he was like,
I did
absolutely
sell my
not.
Minshew shirts a lot because I make shirts as well.
It came out that
Yeah, but Baby Shark is huge.
No,
The parents
I know.
would love that.
It came out that he
I
actually
would buy
hates
that shirt. Oh, really? Oh man, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, because
Sorry,
I guess
DJ.
during one of the games last year,
They probably played that song.
they played it. He had like a really good like first down. And they played it, and he came out. He was like, "Man, it's cool."
Really?
Yeah.
God, man, see, I would eat that up.
So, but they started playing.
It's huge for marketing.
They started playing the Jaws thing.
Okay.
Every time he caught something,
Then make
so,
that.
yeah.
Make it
Or that, and then the old Lil Wayne song, "Go DJ."
Yeah.
They've been playing that too.
Yeah. Okay, that's more
Amazing.
acceptable, I guess.
We'll see. I gotta get back in my creative flow with the shirts.
Anyway, so today we talked about you have to start.
Yeah.
Being punctual,
Get
your
off your
presentation, knowing your customer, and understanding that it's business, baby.
Oh, another thing too. It is okay to fail.
Yes.
Do not get discouraged. If something doesn't go your way, or if you have, if 1 week, whatever your product is not yielding the results, the money will come. Keep grinding, keep
100%.
doing your thing.
Yeah.
And it's okay to fail. I hate to throw that last like little nugget.
Oh no, you're fine.
You
because
have to. Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about my shirts. Like,
Yeah.
I was really good at them, and then I'm just kind of like just stopped.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that. Like, I have all the equipment.
But that's so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
Like failing, it's but
you don't want people to say, "Yeah, I was right."
Yeah, but you just gotta get out there and do it, and you have to keep your head down. I mean, again, been cutting grass for 4 years in 90 to 100 degree temperature. I only passed out once.
Jesus.
So,
I was passed out 2 years ago.
passed out in the barbershop actually.
Colby does one line, and
do
then he
one line,
stops it, and he's like,
"Where's my water?" So,
Yeah.
all right.
what else? Did you go over everything?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
All right, so make sure you check us out on YouTube at Jacksonville Entrepreneurs. Actually, if you go watch YouTube, I'll put his card, his Instagram up there.
Yeah.
So you'll see all like the cool little edits.
What's
that
your
I put in.
Instagram handle?
Kellum's KELLUMS _cuts CUTS.
So I'll put that up there. I do have one more last question.
Sure.
You made a video for your cutting. Do you still have that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on it was on so it's Instagram TV.
Yeah, so
I guess it's
I'll
on
try to get that and maybe plug it into the video just so people can kind of see who you are and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that'd be cool.
But yeah, go check out the YouTube for our I'm adding more edits to the video, so it's just not us talking. So make sure you are subscribed, you like, because it helps us. What else? I think that's it.
That's it.
So catch us next Monday.
That's all,
As
folks.
usual. Thanks for being
I
on.
appreciate it. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, love you. Bye.